So this is from the Code Administration Manual from the Department of Labor and Industry. Certificate of Occupancy Requirements. Okay, and no building or structure shall be used or occupied or changes to the occupancy for a building or structure shall be made until there's a certificate of occupancy. Okay, exception is used manufactured homes depending on the municipality. City of Jordan Code 154.125 Section J states that it requires it for all. So the city has made that decision. This is what's supposed to be on there, and this is what it's supposed to look like. But the City of Jordan does not issue certificates of occupancy to homes in Valley Green. Once the building official has finals the permit, the home may be occupied. And that's per Minnesota 1300.0220 that it's supposed to happen. Okay, here's the chronology of the manufactured home codes and rules, and then examples. Tells you what you're supposed to do, including the site work, frost depth footings, all that jazz. Okay, permits required for this stuff, and example permits for the plan review. Okay, the home permit application, the requirements. Okay, site plan or survey, the grandfather to that end for the City of Jordan. Plans and installations, instructions, installer's license number, and general contractors. Per the codes for 326B, I believe it's 0.85. They have to, in order to be able to get the permit, the city's supposed to check and see, or whoever's doing the codes needs to check and see whether or not they are licensed. Okay. Licensed installers. And again, we showed in one of the previous videos, the installer Rightway Mobile Home Services, that was M3 Structured Services, doing business as Rightway, give up their license in 2018, but we're still doing permits in 2019. Okay, application or plants installations and all this jazz. Okay, so it's sort of like an important thing. Even the checklist here for the code verification sign off. Okay, there's like rules behind this stuff, but they just don't do them for Valley Green. Okay, now on the permits, on that note, Continental Communities is not a registered business in Illinois, Minnesota, or Delaware. Continental Communities LLC and Continental Communities LLC like that are not registered businesses in Illinois, Minnesota, or Delaware. Okay, the only one is like this. Continental Communities Holdings, and spelt that way, and then with a comma, LLC are not registered businesses in Illinois, Minnesota, or Delaware. And Wendy is an employee of Valley Green. She does not work for any other entity or agency, or is not an agent of any other entity. Signed, Sherry Saxon. Okay, but Sherry Saxon is part of Continental Communities' executive management team, which includes their president, Daniel Von Horace. Same thing, executive management team. Executive management team from Continental Communities. The April letter to the residents from the Continental Communities executive management team. But down here, you go to the Continental Communities website. The pay, this is saying how to do the electronic payments. It's Valley Green, addressed to me, and claiming to be part of Continental Communities, right there on their website. This company that is not a legal entity in Minnesota claims to give you money for referrals. privacy policy. Claims to be a company. Terms and conditions. They claim to be a company. About us. They claim to be a company. Right here, it tells how they run each of their communities. So Continental Communities Management manages the on-site community operating and management functions. So she does work for supposedly these guys. And their sales is a totally different company that does a brokerage for the new and pre-owned homes, the lease-to-own and home rental program. Okay, the company also owns Chartwell Financial. Wendy, as of September 8th, though, is still signing as community manager in sales. This was the 30th of June of this year. Oh, she also signs a lot of permits. Right there. Right there. Right there. And we'll even go to the ones from this year. Okay, as of June, she was still working for Continental Community Sales 2, Wendy Saunier, agent. Oh, and she signed it. And there's another one. And yet another one. And if we look up City of Jordan, let's go Jordan, Minnesota. Continental Communities. Right here for the crime-free housing program. Right, from the City of Jordan. Continental Communities, Wendy Saunier. Well, how do you get that name? You sort of got to fill this out for the rental application. Okay, to be able to rent the stuff. Right? And they rent a lot of properties in there. They have about 60 properties that they own. Last time I looked at the Scott County tax record. And different companies own it, but they lease it out through Valley Green. And that's Valley Green Continental Communities is the names that they use. But this is a program that they are signed up for. And who helps with that? None other than the chief of police. And police, right? They have to be trained and everything else. So they got this name, which is a false name, not a true name for a company in Minnesota. It's a false name, so it's a fake name that they gave to the police. Individuals doing that sort of get in trouble. And then here's the other information for the inspections. And how are they renting in Valley Green homes that do not have a certificate of occupancy as required by code? Okay. And there's another email from Sherry Saxon as Continental Communities Holdings, LLC. And again, that company does not exist. Under their communities in Minnesota, these are all running as an illegal company that owns them, Continental Communities. Right? It claims that they are property managers, Wendy Saunier. Resident application, Continental Communities. Community map, Continental Communities. On the permits, we're going to go to the ones from 2019. $500-year flood in 2019 was the first time I've seen since 2015. I have all the permits going back. There was 41 of them. It mentioned. Okay, but they did not do the floodplain requirements. And this one up here has a floodplain noted from 2020. Okay. And flood elevation certification required. And again, the name on there is Continental Communities, the company that doesn't exist. It's another one in the floodplain. And again, Continental Communities, the company that doesn't exist. Not to mention the installer's manual says that the manual's not for anything in a floodplain. And right here, when they fired the last city administrator due to the water bill errors, right? Continental Communities, the owner of Valley Green. So the city knows they run as Continental Communities. That's the name that they've given to them based on that and the landlord application stuff for the rentals. But again, Continental Communities is not a company. Right here. So make of that what you will.